Russell Westbrook is feeling more like himself, nearly a triple-double in Tuesday's win. Tonight, another rematch with his former team, but he will not have the full Lakers 360. LeBron James is going to sit this one out. A little surprising the way he closed out the Rockets on Tuesday. That means more for AD. He's quietly playing some of his best basketball. The Lakers go for some payback against OKC. This time it's at Staples Center. Tip-off is at 7:30 right here on Spectrum Sportsnet. Hello and welcome to Access Sportsnet Lakers, brought to you by your Southern California Toyota dealers. I'm Chris McGee, joined by our Laker insider Mike Bresnahan, the five-time champ, the current coach and GM of Los Angeles Sparks, Derek Fisher. Big games at the game tonight.
Yeah.
Allie's off tonight. It's just the three of us, Derek.
Three amigos.
Hi, Derek.
Hi, Chris.
Good to be here, Brez.
Easy.
Derek doing a little last-minute work there, always getting his stats up to date. Love it.
Yeah, just trying to be prepared as much as possible.
Fish. Top 75 all-time big game James Worthy stands in that spot. Today, Brez steps in.
It's called trading down is what I call it. It's
a big moment right there. Big moment. Listen, we're going to start, unfortunately, with more injury news from the Lakers. LeBron James is out tonight with an ab strain, which occurred in Tuesday's win against the Rockets. LBJ had 30 points in the victory, including 14 of them in the fourth. The Lakers are 1-1 without him in the lineup this season. Unfortunately, this injury occurred when the Lakers' big three was really starting to get rolling, especially on the offensive end. They lead the league in points scored by trios. They're among pretty elite company if you want to see who else is on that list. Of course, they're going to see the Bulls, the Heat, and the Timberwolves coming up here in the next week and a half. All right, with LeBron's injury a big focus, let's get you right to Staples Center with Lakers reporter Mike Trudell, who's standing by with more. But first, before we get to the LeBron news, I want to say happy birthday to our young legend, Michael Trudell.
Oh, wow.
40th. Annie and the boys are at home celebrating without you.
So kind. And guys, look, I am very happy to be spending this birthday with you, although I wish you were down here at Staples Center. And Geeter, I also wish that we didn't have to focus on injury news. Man, what's up with that?
I know.
Let's talk about basketball.
When you woke up this morning, you thought it's my 40th. I'm going to get to watch LeBron play. But you know what?
That's right.
That didn't happen, did it, Mike?
No, it didn't. But this is where you start to think about the big picture, right?
Yes,
and I immediately have my brain go there. Okay, long run. Of course, they have to have LeBron at 100% health. But you do worry anytime that he's out for something like this with a strain of a muscle. Although Frank Vogel did sound hopeful when he discussed LeBron's injury, in that it wasn't something that's going to be too significant. Let me have him do it in his words, though. So here's Frank Vogel a couple moments ago when asked about LeBron James.
Anytime LeBron's out, or is going to miss some time, there's obviously concern, but hopefully this is something that's minimal, and hopefully he'll be back soon.
Do you know if it was something that he aggravated over the course of the game and then was able to finish it out, or how that evolved?
Yeah, he doesn't know exactly what happened. He just said when he came out of the game at that 5-minute mark or something in the fourth quarter, when he came over to the bench, he just said he felt something pulling. Was able to finish the game, but then obviously discovered that there was something there after the game.
Frank, of course, you can't replace him with anybody, but what is the plan, both in the starting lineup and then just the most important things for guys to collectively do when he's not playing?
Yeah, obviously you can't replace what LeBron does, but everybody else has to do what they do better, and pick up the slack that way. Communication piece is always the first thing that comes to mind. And in terms of the rotation, we're gonna start big again. We'll start DJ and AD, keep Avery and Bays in the starting lineup with Russell.
Frank, when obviously it's never ideal to not have LeBron, but do you see is there some kind of silver lining with when he's out that you have Russ, who maybe is able to play more naturally as the primary ball handler, or is it just that anytime LeBron and Russ aren't on the floor, it's a missed opportunity for them to continue to get acclimated to one another?
Both. Okay. We want those guys to get as many minutes as we can together. But this is one of the reasons, we all felt good about trading for Russell, is being able to handle, stretches where we don't have LeBron or AD better than we did last year. And, Obviously, he had a great game in San Antonio last week. We were on track to have a second game in a row against these guys. And hopefully, we'll see, Russell have the ball in his hands, the way he's more accustomed to.
All right, guys, so obviously a bummer, no LeBron tonight, but we remember last week the Lakers also didn't have LeBron against OKC. They played great. That is the Lakers in the first half, and then we all know what happened since then. So that will have their attention, at least we should assume, for this one tonight.
Mike, stay right there. We hope Andy and the kids are watching. We want to show a picture. This is the first year of the network. Look at a young Michael Trudell Fish. He already had 2 rings. When he showed up his first year, you and him both won a title in Orlando. There he is. Look at the hair.
Shout out to
spiky Mikey.
Shout out to Jameer Nelson Fish for just letting me shoot.
You always love to shout him out, don't you? By the way,
Appreciate
Mike,
that.
the suits just fit better now. I mean, you definitely have more money. Pocket squares,
more money
on point,
and more gray hair.
More
gray hair also.
Well, that's you have 3 boys. You have 3 boys.
That's true.
By the way, Laker Film Room Pete sent out a tweet today, wishing you happy birthday and saying how wonderful you are. And I want to share that because Mike, you really are a wonderful human. You're great at your job, an unbelievable father and husband, and we love you, brother. You're awesome, man.
Happy birthday, Mike.
That is very sweet. Really appreciate that. Shout out to Pete as well. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that.
Good job, Mike.
Good job, Mike. Mike Trudell, ladies and gentlemen. 40. Man, he looks like a baby in that photo, doesn't he? That's crazy.
I don't know about you guys. I can't wait to turn 40. It'll be a big day.
By the way, we're not going to talk about it yet. Listen, so early season woes for the Lakers. 3rd game and counting. LeBron is going to miss. What does that mean for the team?
I think it's a part of, what this team, has gone through, honestly, since LeBron has arrived in L.A. Each year there's been a little bit of stretch of time where an injury or something that has set the team back, and they've had to figure out how to respond and work through it. In 2020 in the bubble, the season was disrupted by COVID and social justice reform, et cetera. So, we didn't necessarily see the impact of LeBron missing that significant time. So I think for this team now, it's good to figure out how to play basketball without LeBron on the floor. Over the course of this long season, you can't play LeBron 34, 35, 36 minutes every night and expect him to be ready to win a championship during the playoffs. So a good opportunity, although very unfortunate circumstances.
Yeah, long term, not a big deal at all. A week-to-week type of thing in November, big deal. Short term, though, there's some pretty tough games coming up after tonight. The schedule starts to turn a little bit. You're going to play Miami. They're on top of the East. You're going to play a couple other teams that are exceeding expectations in Minnesota and Charlotte. So LeBron, you want it back as soon as you can, and to build cohesion too, Fish. I mean, obviously, that's a big part of it. The good news is, in the 2 games without him, they kind of replaced his scoring. Against San Antonio, Malik Monk, Austin Reeves, they combined for 27. The next game against OKC, you had Bazemore and Avery Bradley. They combined for 24. But obviously, you cannot replace the man himself, his passing touch, the aura that he brings to the court.
So AD and Westbrook are 1-1 without LeBron, the 26-point comeback from OKC. That was the game they didn't finish. I guess, can you find a silver lining? Brez and Fish, AD and Russ going to have to carry the load, continue to build on that chemistry, Fish.
Yeah, I mean, I think the silver lining is there are 11 new players on this team.
Yeah.
And so as everybody's continuing to become more acclimated with each other, the guys Brez mentioned, Malik Monk, Kent Bazemore, Carmelo Anthony, will we see Rondo get minutes tonight? DeAndre Jordan. Each of those guys are going to be needed in order for this team to really be successful this year. So when you have one of your star guys out,
everyone else,
you're talking about 30 to 40 additional opportunities offensively for the basketball to move, guys to develop confidence, rhythm, belief, and trust in one another. So that's the silver lining. Whether they win or lose the games, that's a different story. But the more reps they all get together, even with LeBron out, it's better for the team long term.
Yeah, definitely no silver lining. That might have been the wrong way to put it, but you have to kind of make, out of.
Yeah, exactly. And they probably don't want to look too much at that video of last week against OKC. The one against San Antonio, though, again, no LeBron. I thought Russ and AD were really good together. They each went over 30 points. They each rebounded a lot of misses. They each had over 10 boards that game. So that was a good template for those two. I thought they really found good synergy in San Antonio. In OKC, there were some struggles there. Obviously, Russ got a little frustrated at the end of that game. He did not play that well in front of his former home crowd. But I'm eager to see how those two do tonight, knowing exactly what happened just last week in OKC.
And the pace, I think, pay attention tonight to whether the pace is faster. Like I recall watching that Spurs game. That game, there were stretches where both teams were just flying up and down the court.
Yeah.
The Lakers weren't as concerned about stopping, making sure that LeBron got a touch, AD got a touch, Russ got a touch. It really was Russ's pace remaining high, Malik Monk, the young guys, Austin Reeves. So look for that tonight for the Lakers to play really fast, even though they have been playing with the second highest pace in the league so far.
All right, well, let's go to break. More to come. Lakers and Thunder coming up at 7:30 here on Spectrum Sportsnet. Avery Bradley will make his third.